It's time for the first one of these this year. It's Virtual Insanity.
You have entered Power Drive.
Oh, wow! John Duggan.
Jer and Shane, how we doing?
Good morning to you.
That sting was... I've forgotten how much I loved it.
The warm embrace.
The Donnie Darko. Marshmallow Man. So, Happy New Year to you all. And the reason why we're doing this Virtual Insanity is because it's worked over the last couple of years. So, in 2021, we had a profit on our golf tipping of 46.5%. And then last year we had a profit of 25%. So the concept is we have a virtual 1,000 and we put bets on the PGA Tour and the majors every week for about 40 weeks until the end of November. And then we see where the 1,000 has got to by the end of the year. So last year we'd winners at 80 to 1, 66 to 1, 25 to 1 twice and 16 to 1 twice. You'll have your losers, and it's all about being conservative and trying to maybe pick a few golfers each week and trying a bit of fun with it. And if you're going to have a real punt on it, obviously don't gamble more than you can afford. So we're going to start off with the Sony Open in Hawaii at Hawaii Lake Country Club, where we'd all love to be, but we're not. So we're going to pick 4 golfers this week, and the headline one is Corey Connors from Canada. He's from a place called Listowel in Ontario. Don't know if he's any Kerry blood in him, but he's a 22 to 1 shot for 4 each way. Corey Connors has got really good form at the course. He's been 3 times in the top 12 out of 4 starts. It's funny, out of this tournament, of the 24 times the Tournament of Champions has been played the week before at Kapalua, also in Hawaii, 17 of the 24 times the winners come from the week before. It just shows to me that rust can be taken off a player, and Corey Connors did play last week and closed with a 67, 6 under par round. So he's got the cobwebs gone. He is a brilliant ball striker, which needs to be around the tight par 70 YLA Country Club. His putting is a weakness, but he does put well on Bermuda greens, where he had his only win at the Texas Open. So Corey Connors, 4 each way, 22 to 1, the headline tip. The 3 other players for 2 each way, we've got Keith Mitchell at 35 to 1. Once again, loves YLA Country Club, 7th last year, 4 top 25s and 5 starts at the Sony Open. Really, really good off the tee, so he can attack the course from the fairway with the second shots. Had a top 10 in November in Houston, and Keith Mitchell is a player that Rory McIlroy's complimented in the past, 31 years of age. I think he could get a second win on the tour this week at 35 to 1. Christian Bezuidenhout of South Africa is a 28-year-old who I think will win on the PGA Tour this year. He's 45 to 1 for 2 each way. Played very well in South Africa in November, a tie for 5th and a tie for 3rd. On his debut here last year was tied 17th. Brilliant short game. Once again, not that long off the tee, but he doesn't need to be at this tight track. And he's got a great short game, 6th in the putting stats last year and 1st in scrambling on the limited starts in the PGA Tour this year. For a tough mental guy, Christian Bezuidenhout, who has won 4 times in the DP World Tour. And the last player at 80 to 1 for 2 each way, Nick Hardy, the Hardy boys. We have Nick Hardy, who only played twice in the PGA Tour a couple of years ago, and one of them was a start here where he was tied 14th. He was a rookie then last season after a really good stint on the Corn Ferry Tour when he was, 2nd in ball striking. But he played pretty poorly last year. Then regrouped and went on the Corn Ferry Tour, got a 2nd place confidence boosting finish, then turned to the US Open at Brookline and was contending through halfway. Then he was 5th in Sanderson Farms Championship in October. I think with a 2nd run now, Nick Hardy, who's a tee to green machine, can have a much more bigger impact this season on the PGA Tour. So Nick Hardy, 80 to 1. Christian Bezuidenhout, 45 to 1. Keith Mitchell, 35 to 1. All 2 each way. And the headline tip for the first Virtual Insanity of 2023 is Corey Connors to bring it home for Listowel, 22 to 1 for 4 each way, guys. Up Canada.
Keith Mitchell, of course, trying to bring it home for the Queen Vic in EastEnders. Sounds like he's straight out of EastEnders.
Was it not Grant Mitchell?
It is, yeah, but it just sounds like a character
and
name.
Phil
Is
the long lost brother.
I don't know if there is a Keith. He could be the long
lost brother. Yeah.
Exactly,
now he does have a full head of hair in him.
Oh, okay, so maybe not.
Unlike the other lads.
Not a blood brother.
No. Well, sometimes brothers can look different. Was there a Charlie Cray? There was Reggie and Ron Cray, and then there was a Charlie Cray.
Right.
Yeah. Unconnected. Uninvolved, was he? I don't know. Is this real?
No, there was a brother. I know there was a brother. I don't know whether he was involved in nefarious activities or organised crime or anything like that, but there was another brother,
right,
as it were, Charlie Cray, as a
non-twin.
Yeah.
For anybody who is
just
getting introduced to this, right? The prices, you got to shop around for the best price.
You do got to shop around. So Bookmakers offer different types of value. So some of them will offer a fifth of the odds. There's 144 players in this event. Some will offer them a fifth of the odds each way. So an each way bet is 2 bets. It's to win bet and a place bet to get in the top 8. Some bookmakers might offer better odds for your golfer to finish in the top 5. But you should be going as many places as you can. So you'd have bookmakers like Paddy Power, William Hill, Betfair, Betway, Ladbrokes will all go to 8 places. But there's a website called oddschecker.com, which will give you a suite of prices, and you can pick the best price out of that. And that's what I try to do here. There's a podcast for this now. You can check out a podcast every week. It's live at the OTB Sports Podcast Network right now. It's also on the website, otbsports.com. You can get the full rationale there. So you can, there's various ways of checking out this virtual insanity every week. On Tuesdays, Wednesdays, we'll have it all up for you. And obviously we'll do the majors as well. But yeah, you do have to shop around for the best value. You could have Rory McIlroy one week at 10 to 1, and then you could have them with 16 to 1 with another bookmaker, because what bookmakers are doing is they're forming opinions based on their own odds compilers. They have their own people in,
and they're trying to bribe you to come and sign up with them as well. So some week they're going to offer a big price on a golfer, and if that is your fancy that week, then you should be opportunistic.
Yes, and also around the majors you can get massive value. Like the Masters has realistically 60, 70 players that can contend. They could be going 10, 12 places. So you got to shop around. That's why like Cheltenham, all these big events, they try to get you in. But then once they get you in, you'd also then need to be discerning around it, you know?
That's the last thing I wanted to talk about. You just need to be disciplined about this. You pick big odds at the 80 to 1. It's not a throwaway. Several times over the last couple of years, some of those guys have competed and some of them have actually won.
Yes, and if you can get even, it's all about, forget about winning and losing, right? I've had 11 winners over the last 2 years, but at the majors last year, I had nothing. I had a disaster in the majors. But it's all about profit. It's not about winning and losing. Like what I'm trying to do is, I start with 1,000. I'm betting 20 this week. So you're hoping by March, April, you might be around the 900, 1,100 mark. You don't want to be fluctuating too far from the 1,000. You don't want to be at 500.
No.
Because
then you're chasing it.
Yeah, then you're chasing. Then you're into emotional betting, rather than into having a bit of crack with it. Because it is fun. You had 4 days run for your money, and imagine a Sunday evening you might have 2 lads of those 4 in the hunt, and it's a bit of crack, and that's what it should be. It shouldn't be more serious than that.
Yeah, and stick to what you've decided is your stake for the week. Don't be randomly going, I like the odds in this guy, and then also this guy, and then all of a sudden it's like.
If you're getting involved in running golfing, it's a dangerous concept, because weather can change, all these things can change, and you can get really messed up by the fact that on Friday you think, wow, it's going really well for me, and then it's hard for golfers to shoot 4 very good rounds together. Often they'll shoot maybe 2.5 good rounds, and it's how they limit the damage of the other rounds, turning a 75 into a 70, and that's what wins golf tournaments.
John, the scarf is fantastic. You do look like a thespian character, and I'm just after learning something from our producer Colin that shook me to my core, but also doesn't surprise me in a weird way. You were in the Gaiety Theatre School of Acting, and you appeared in a play about a serial killer. Yeah, I did. Tell us more.
Yeah, so Colin only asked me this. I wasn't volunteering this information at all. So
it was the scarf that gave it away.
He said I was a thespian, so I got the scarf for Christmas, and I'm trying to use different props, whether it's a beard or a scarf. It's almost like part of my...
the beard's gone.
Part of my big disguise for 2023.
Okay.
No, I just did a couple of nights a week for 2 years at the Gaiety School in my early 20s, and I have to say, my broadcasting really helped my acting, and my acting really helped my broadcasting. It was one of the best things I ever did, just in terms of just personal development. Great fun, great people in the course, and we would learn a load of things each week. It's just about framing, about aesthetics, about learning lines, about doing plays, about there's various I suppose components of what acting was about. And then at the end of the year, you go and you'd perform in front of 300 or 400 people at the Project Theatre. So I did a David Mamet play. I did an excerpt from that where I was not a good guy, and I took a knife to a person, a lady in the scene, and I would lean in like that and in front of everybody in the audience, and I pull back, and then there was all blood coming all out of her stomach. Now obviously it was red dye. It was we had a big pouch of red dye in her jumper, and whatever way you did it, when I came back from her, like it was just like all this like red dye everywhere. So it was just kind of the fake props. It was all kind of funny stuff, So, but obviously, the serial killer was only a fictitious thing.
A villain, yeah.
And then there was another one. I was selling bananas. I was a banana seller. It was like a Jewish play. So you had various different things everybody would do, and people have gone on to some people acted in Fair City out of it, and some people, obviously the people who were doing, like, I mean, you talk about Colin Farrell. I think Colin Farrell studied there.
Picked up Golden Globe last night.
Yeah,
as well,
that's it. So, no, it's a hard graft, and anybody who's made it in acting has really done well to make it, because, as we all know, it's a difficult profession to make it in.
You look like someone who could quite easily play an Italian mobster, or maybe someone in a Bond film stroking a cat who slowly turns the chair around. I don't know, I'm just getting that vibe from you.
The only time I ever saw that was in the cartoon Inspector Gadget, and you never actually saw the guy. Don't know if you remember watching that chair when you were young.
I mean, I don't think they had it on RTE, and it was, my mates definitely had it, but I didn't.
Yeah,
I've seen it since,
of course.
But
I can't believe this news.
All right, we gotta go.
Yeah,
we gotta go.
We're out of time here.
John, good stuff.
All right, guys.
More Virtual Insanity on John Duggan's Twitter feed, and of course at Off the Ball on Twitter as well. And he'll be with you on Saturday afternoon on Off the Ball on News Talk. A reminder.